A lot of people want to know what to do after they get stung by a bee, and this could be for yourself or for your children. And before we get into that, I want to talk about a few ways to prevent bee stings, because an ounce of prevention is truly worth a pound of cure. And so make sure that you and your children are wearing shoes when you're outside, because a lot of people get stung by just stepping on a bee. And if a bee has died, you can still get stung by the stinger of a dead bee. So make sure you're wearing shoes. And certain colors actually attract bees and insects. Some floral patterns do too. So white, green, tan, and khaki actually don't attract bees. And so maybe these are colors that you want to consider dressing your children in if you're going to be outside. We've all been at a picnic where we've been eating food and there's a lot of insects, and so also know that if you're eating, there will be bees around. And the worst thing you can do is run from it or swat at it. And that's our immediate response, but that will actually trigger them to become more aggressive and to sting. And if you find yourself in a swarm of bees, the best thing to actually do, and this is against your instincts, is to hunker down, get in a ball, and cover as much skin as you can, especially your face. And they may not sting you, or this may minimize the amount of times that you get stung in a swarm. Children and adults alike who have an anaphylactic reaction to bee stings need to be extra careful when they're outside. It's a good idea for them to wear an alert bracelet so that if they do get stung or start acting funny, people can think about that and get them the emergency care that they need. An anaphylactic reaction is where everything basically shuts down and the person no longer has a pulse and they're not breathing, and this is life-threatening. And it can happen within 2 hours of a bee sting. And so if someone has a history of an anaphylactic reaction and they get stung, seek medical attention immediately. Watch for symptoms of wheezing, shortness of breath, slurred speech, weakness, or passing out. And these can all be the first signs of an anaphylactic reaction to a bee sting. Now, if you don't have an anaphylactic reaction to bee stings, then obviously that's a good thing, but you may also want to know what you can do to minimize the pain and discomfort that comes from bee stings. Ice can help. Grab some ice and put it on there for about 20 minutes or so. You can also try a baking soda rub. Just get a little bit of baking soda and water, mix it together to make a paste, and put it on the bee sting for about 20 minutes. Also look for the stinger and remove it if you can. You can just get your fingernail or a little credit card and try to flick it out. But if it's embedded deeply into the skin, just leave it there, and with natural shedding, it will eventually fall out of the skin. If you or your child has been stung by a bee and you have specific questions about things you're seeing, talk with a doctor and they'll determine if further investigation or intervention is warranted. And if you have more questions in the future for me, feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Intermountain Moms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.